Good morning. Welcome to Getting Started with Local Contracting. It's a webinar that Norcal PTAC is putting on and hosting. We're very excited today to be putting this on. Main presentation is going to be given by Liz Brazil, Procurement Specialist with Norcal PTAC, and I'll be sort of your host, your MC today. My name is James Forrest, also a Procurement Specialist, former Program Coordinator. I'm going to hand things over to Liz pretty quickly, but I just want to talk a little bit about PTAC. We got a lot of folks here today, so we want to get the word out. PTACs are being rebranded. We are going to change our name to Apex Accelerators on a national level. There's about 96 of our PTAC centers, and they will be called Apex Accelerator Centers going forward. So we will soon be using the name, or we're already kind of using the name Apex Accelerator along with Norcal PTAC. So I just want everyone to know that, be aware. When you see that new name, there's no difference to our services. We're offering the same trainings and services, one-on-one counseling. So I'll go over what we offer in a second. We are nonprofit centers. We're not government agencies. We're not private firms. What we do is we help businesses, mostly small businesses. We're really targeted on trying to help little guys compete in the government marketplace. So pretty much just anything related to government contracting we can help with. We offer our services for free, so you don't have to pay for us like with a consultancy firm. And we're funded by federal, state, and local grant contracts. On a national level, PTACs across the whole country served over 56,000 clients in FY21 and helped them win more than 24 billion with a B in contracts and subcontracts. And as you can see, there's about 7 in California alone. Here is our slice of the geographical area of California. We are the 9 counties of the Bay Area where about 10 million people live, and then up the coast, and these inland counties, Siskiyou, Trinity, Shasta, but up the coast to Oregon, otherwise all these counties. So this is our service area. If you're outside of that service area and you would like to get involved with a PTAC, please click on that link at the bottom there, find your local PTAC. That link will give you a national directory of all the different PTACs in the country. So that's a good idea to find your local PTAC. You have to have a primary location. Your business has to have a main location in our service area to work with us. The other qualifications are that you need to be in business. So you can't be a brand new, just thinking about starting a business. You need to be in business, have a location in our service area, and be interested in government contracting. So not startup assistance, not business plan writing, not trying to look for funding. Up and ready to go, looking to get contracts. And then we are your folks. So what we can do for our clients is we can help them with one-on-one counseling. So procurement specialists such as Liz and myself can meet with you individually to go over just about anything related to government contracting. I will talk about some of our services on the next slide. We can also set you up with a custom bid matching profile, kind of a secret weapon of ours, something we pay for and then offer to you for free. It's pretty nifty. Basically, it scrapes the internet, finds all of these bids and resources from different databases that match what you sell, and then sends them to your inbox in the morning. That's really great. And then, we all offer resources and trainings like the one we're putting on today. And these, Liz, I'm not sure, Liz, are you clicking on the?
Oh.
Perhaps.
I thought you had control. I'm sorry.
That's okay. If you click on the screen, it'll retake control. All right. But we are always putting on resources and trainings like this one, and these are free to join for anyone from anywhere, so you don't have to be in our service area. And with collection of these resources and ways that we help our clients, we helped our clients win more than 500 million. So over $500 million in 2021, and that number is going to go up for 2022. So if you're interested, there's our website there, norcalptac.org. You can also see our phone number and email address at the bottom. Here's just a list of some of the services that we offer. So if you have questions about SAM registration, any kind of certification, whether at federal level, state level, county level, capability statements, market research, some of the things we're going to talk about today are things that we can help with you on a one-on-one basis. So as I mentioned, please, if you have questions for Liz about the content, please be specific and enter them in the chat. Let me correct myself. Enter them into the Q&A if possible. It's a lot easier to follow the questions if they go in the Q&A with this many participants. And we'll be able to answer them as time permits at the end. So let's go ahead and hand things over to Liz here. Liz, thank you very much for putting all this together. And we're looking forward to seeing the presentation.
Good morning, everyone. As James mentioned, I am one of the procurement specialists for Norcal PTAC, which is now Apex Accelerators. I have over 35 years working for various local agencies within the Bay Area. I started out with BART, which is the Bay Area Rapid Transit. I moved on to the Alameda County Transportation Commission. I also worked briefly with Samtrans, and then lastly, I worked for Santa Clara Valley Transportation Authority. I am familiar with local, state, and federal procurement processes during my term as a contract administrator for various agencies and also as a DBE and small business program manager. So before we get started, I need to read this disclosure. The information provided herein is accurate to the best of my ability at the time of this presentation. Some or all of the provisions mentioned herein could or may be changed by the current administration with or without prior notice. Okay, before we get started, we would like to do a quick survey.
All right, I've got it launched.
Perfect. This is a great way to know if you guys have any experience. And so, and I know it's a very entry level on how to get started with local contracting, but if you can let us know.
Yeah, so the question should come up for you on your screen. You can click on an answer, then click submit. But it's just, have you had any contract with local governments? And yes, no, or in progress. And if you know your situation's sort of complicated, you can put in progress as well. That'll be sort of our miscellaneous category. All right, we'll give it a couple seconds. Looks like most people have participated already. No is definitely in a strong lead here, though we're getting some yeses as well, so that's great. We always get a mix of folks in these webinars. So, okay, I'm going to cut it off now. A nice 82% participated. Thanks everyone for drinking your coffee and waking up and ready to play this evening. Looks like 20% of you have had some contracts, but most at 76% have said no, you haven't had any local contracts, and a couple of you are in progress with one.
This is perfect. Thank you so much. Okay, so our agenda today is to cover a couple of topics. What is local contracting? How to promote yourself to local government agencies? Registering as a vendor? The importance of registrations and the right certification? Marketing your business? And using local resources. James?
If you just click on the screen, you should be able to retake control of this.
I'm not.
You're not finding your mouse.
Hold on. Oh, perfect.
There we go.
Sorry about that. Okay, what is local contracting? When the term government contracting is used, it refers to doing business with any level of government, whether it's federal, state, county, city, tribal, and special districts. Special districts could be school, transportation, and so on. This webinar is designed to provide you with an overview of the unique advantages of local agency contracting. Understand the funding source that dictates the procurement processes. Government contracting can be very daunting. Doing business with cities, counties, and special districts is a great way to get started with government contracting. This will cover many of the critical aspects needed before you start approaching these government agencies. Local contracting would typically comes with less complexities and lower dollar amounts. Local contracting market provides a tremendous opportunity for small businesses like yourself. In order for small businesses to succeed, they must understand the specific needs of the agencies and be prepared to offer sensible and cost-effective solutions. Learn about your prospects and determine if you have the capacity and resource to help deliver projects and programs. There are many areas of contracting. It involves purchasing, professional services, and construction. My takeaway for you is to learn the basics of doing business with local agencies. Big journeys start with small steps. It is very true. In my 35 years experience working with local agencies, it provided me with firsthand experience how a small business can grow into a multi-million dollar business. While at Santa Clara Valley VTA, I was tasked with administering the Small Business and Disadvantaged Business Enterprise programs. VTA's project was to extend BART to San Jose Berryessa. One construction contract alone was worth $772 million. By the end of the contract, it grew to almost $1 billion project. It was a joint venture project. One subcontractor provided rebar. She was a women-owned business and certified small business and a DBE. She participated in this local project and was awarded a multi-million dollar contract. The business made so much money that they graduated from the program within a year. The joint venture not only met, but exceeded overall project goals. These are the benefits of local contracting. We also have another success story within the same project. We had a small business that applied for DBE and SBE certification. They thought that they would have a heads up and have the advantage versus other small businesses. They started out providing CCTV and other technology services, but the thing that comes across, and I remembered her so vividly because she was always attending networking events and pre-bid meetings. They too have graduated from the programs and they are now a multi-million dollar company. There are so many stories like this, and hopefully one day you'll be one of them. So let's get started, and let me end this by saying it doesn't matter where you start, but how you finish that matters. Okay, so local government agencies, as I mentioned, there's so many of them. There's 230 state agencies, there's 25 transportation agencies in NorCal, there's 58 counties in California, and various universities, school districts, and Public Utilities Commission. So you have an opportunity to work with these areas. One thing I wanted to emphasize also is to learn about your prospects. And one way you can do that is to search where the funding's coming from and to learn about those projects and those areas. So Rebuilding California is just an example. As you can see here, they are receiving federal funding, $2.1 billion from the Biden administration. Another one is through the RACE grant program is $1.5 billion. And the third one is in September of last year, where they have the $1.5 billion from the infrastructure, which will help 26 transportation projects nationwide. Next, there's also various state funding. Now, as you know, the gas tax, the Senate Bill 1, which is also commonly referred to as Road Repair and Accountability Act, was signed into law. This will provide $54 billion for the next 10 years to fix the roads, the freeways, the bridges, and so on. In addition to this, we also have the regional funding, which is the sales tax. This goes back into spending more into your local infrastructure projects. So if you want to learn more about the funding, get to know your prospects, go over and do your research, because this will help you dictate who's going to be procuring some of these contracts, what agencies. Now, one of the biggest things, as I mentioned, is the Senate Bill 1, which is approximately $54 billion. A lot of these projects are also given to local agency partners. Now, to search for District 4, you can go into their website and there's a listing of district local partners that helps them with their advertisement, their award, and administration of the projects. And as I mentioned, this is one of the samples about getting to know your prospects, learn about their projects, go into their look ahead programs and look at their funding, because by searching the funding will tell you what areas of work they will have. So in here, just click on the funding, you'll get the federal, the state, regional, but there's also a lot of their information, the planning, the operations, and so on. Next, one of the things that's very important is register as a vendor. This is just one sample that I want you to know that every single agency that I mentioned, local agencies, have their own procurement website. It's not like the state of California that has one website called Cal eProcure. Local agencies have their own individual websites. And if you want to target them as one of your prospects, you got to learn how to search their website, what type of projects they're working on, and register as a vendor. And you can register a vendor and receive automatic notification when there's specific project or RFP, RFQ, IFB, which is referred to as request for proposals, request for qualification, or invitations for bids. Those are some of the names. But if you are not registered, what you have to do is you have to manually search for contracting opportunities. And not too many of us have that much time. Also, if you want to learn more about your prospects, go in there and look at the reports. Sometimes they have minutes of meetings. And by looking at these, you can tell what they're spending their money. So for example, MTC, their summary of expenditures, they also, in addition, they purchase office supplies, printing, and graphic services, computers, computer software. So these are a lot of expenditures that each local agency have. Another one is a city. This is a city website for a city of San Jose. And sometimes too, it's very easy. You can say vendor registration, or sometimes it would refer to a subscribe to our website so that you can receive notification. If you don't, you have to search manually. So this one, you're searching for printing services and it comes up. Another one is the housing authority. Now, sometimes you don't realize that within each county, there's various different departments. So the Housing Authority of County of Alameda has also a website to do business with them. The nice thing I wanted to show you is a lot of the local agencies have their own micro purchase These are purchases that they can do for under 10,000. All they have to do is single quote. But how do they find those? Again, I have to emphasize being registered. It's nice to also know that there are some purchasing requirements in order for their procurement. This is from Joshua Altieri, which is the HACA Community Relations Manager. He provided this information. But in addition, for their agency, they also have the small purchase, which is any amounts between 10,000 to 250,000. Now, as you can tell, some of you who've done federal contracting, 250,000 is also a threshold for simplified acquisition under the FAR regulations, which is the Federal Acquisition Regulations. And the nice thing about this is, you know, they only need 3 quotes, right? Again, how do they find these? The first thing they would look is their own database. Who is registered under their database? And if they find them, then they will notify them that there's an RFP or a request. But if they can't find them, then they have to go to the Small Business Administration database. Or sometimes too, they have other sources. Now, the California Public Codes for local agency will dictate their procurement processes. So for example, for VTA, if you look at in here, to the extent practicable, the authority shall obtain a minimum of 3 quotations, either written or oral. If it's $252,500, okay, but under 100,000. That's nice, you know. If you have competition and 33% is you'll win that award, that's a good odds, really good odds. So those are different ways that I wanted to let you know, is to learn about your prospects and register with local agencies. But one of the things too that I wanted to share with you is, if you're not familiar with capability statement, you should have one. And also, if you have an opportunity to network and meet with local agency, prepare a power pitch. Now, it's sometimes difficult to do cold calls, but I do recommend emailing them, and if possible, give them a phone call. And also, if you have an opportunity for face-to-face meetings, these are a great way to promote yourself. And I'm going to go in detail of each one of these. Capability statement, or sometimes it's referred to as statement of qualifications. That is the first thing I would ask my clients. Do you have a capability statement? Now, a lot of them are not aware of what it is, but basically it's a resume for your business. If you were applying for a job, you would have a resume about your experience, your schooling, all of the skills that you may have. It's a 1-page. If you do have a lot of information, no more than 2 pages. That's my recommendation. You can create multiple versions, you know, to target different agencies. It's just like sometimes if you're applying for a job, you may have 1 or 2 resumes, right? So Norcal PTAC has a webinar on how to write capability statement. And I do have a link here for you. What to include? You should have a brief intro paragraph, your core competencies, your differentiators, What makes you different from other businesses? Your key clients, past performance, a quick bio. Most importantly, your codes and certifications. If you need help identifying your NIC codes or your UN SPSC code, which is the United Nations Supplies and Products Code, right? Or the North American Industrial Classification System codes. Include those. And if you need help, we can help you. Your contact information. And if you have a website, include it. If you have a lot of realty, include photos, okay? Don't leave anything blank. Anytime you can advertise, use every single space that you have. And we do also offer you a sample template, so you can review some of these. It's a little bit outdated, but it's in a Word document. You can change the color, you can change the fonts. And again, the most important information here is your contact, your company snapshots, your codes, and your certifications. Okay, what is effective power pitch? Basically is a short version of your capability statement. It's a 45-second speech highlighting your business. Is it for everyone? I don't know, but I know it helps because not too many people have a lot of time especially with meeting local agency representatives. To me, if you can provide me with a short speech and provide me with your capability statement, I will remember you. And there's a lot of ways that you can provide information. Wait, let me go back a little bit more. A lot of times too, in a power pitch, you have to give an overview, but tailor it to what your end results would be. Provide what you do, what service that you provide, but at the end, the main mission for you or goal is to have a follow-up meeting. Okay? And if you need time, sometimes I even tell my clients, go videotape yourself or practice with your children or your wife and keep it short and very tight. Another way is email. There's a power of email is undisputed. You can send them a short introduction. You can provide them with information, attach your capability statement, and hopefully they'll respond back. And maybe you can even have a 15-minute meetings with them. Don't be afraid, okay? So another thing too is phone calls. But a lot of times local agency, unless you have a meeting reserved, it's hard for them to take a phone call. Okay. But if you can introduce yourself through the email, let them know if you can call them, set up an appointment, and go ahead. All right. So that's very helpful. The next item, and with anything else, as I mentioned, is the importance of certifications and registrations. You had a lot of sample in the beginning where I showed you various websites of local agencies. You can learn about the agency. You can look at the various projects they may have. They even have a look ahead information listing on their website. But unless you register, you're going to be missing out. So, biggest takeaway here is register as a vendor. But the next big takeaway I'd like to is the certifications. There's a lot of local business, small local business, small local emerging business, and so on. So if you have and you're eligible for these small business certification, take advantage of it. Okay. Because in most cases, they will have a preference. Okay. Even up to 10%. That means even if your bid was 10% higher than the lowest bidder, you are still capable or available to be awarded that contract. The nice thing too, I wanted to share with you is the Department of General Services have a small business certification. And that is a really nice way to get certified as small business, because a lot of the local agency have reciprocity. So that if you're certified small business with a state, you are automatically counted as being certified with any of the local agency partners that has reciprocity. You know, go look into the local agency websites, click on doing business, and most cases you can get your certification. It's very easy. It's not very time consuming, but it will give you an advantage. Marketing your business. There's so many ways now, you know. Sometimes you can do online. Not too many people do hard copy, but online always, I think, has the same benefits as a hard copy and less expensive. Having a website, you know, what's the best way to market your business by having a website? Your business card, use that also as your marketing tool. You know, a lot of people forget that to put in. If you were certified a small business, a disadvantaged business enterprise, a women-owned business, put it in your business card. You have a front and a back. If you don't have space on the front, put it in the back, because a lot of local agency representatives will keep your business cards, and we will use that to search for any contracting opportunities. So, you know, use that as your marketing business. Capability statement, I went over that. So everyone who wants to do business with the government, whether it's federal, state, local, you should have a capability statement, okay? Networking in COVID, you know, a lot of them are through webinars and Zoom, and, you know, sometimes they have hybrids, and sometimes now, especially now, we're starting to open up in-person networking. So I can't say enough about networking. There's another way too, pre-bid, pre-proposal meeting. Not only are you going to be understanding what the project's about, you can learn and meet with the local agency representatives, project managers. But in addition, you can meet with other prime contractors or subcontractors. And even though it's not for this specific project, they may keep your cards or information for the next project. And lastly, get certified. The two success stories that I had mentioned early on in the presentation, the huge advantage that they have was that they were women-owned certified firm. They were small business, and lastly, there was a disadvantaged business enterprise. So there are a lot of benefits of being certified. And not only that you get a chance to help the local agency meet their goals, but, you know, you're also in their database the small business database, the DBE's database, so that other prime contractors or subcontractors can find you. Now, Norcal PTAC, which is now going to be called Apex, we have a website about local contracting. We do have a partial list of the county's procurement websites, the cities. We have transportation agencies and other local agencies. It's growing, and this is only a partial list, but the best way is, get to know your local agency and, determine which agency you want to work for and look them up, what type of projects that they have coming up, register as a vendor, and, contact them and let them know and share your capability statement. There's steps to success. As James had mentioned, you have to be a business in order to get assistance from Norcal PTAC. So, determine if you're ready for government contracting. Apply. Once you do have a business, apply for PTAC services. It's free. There's no cost. Complete the checklist. Make sure that you have covered everything that you need to cover for your business. Get certified. Create a capability statement. Update your website or create one if you don't have one. Network. Build relationships. Locate your bid opportunities. And hopefully, at the end, you'll win contracts. That's our main goal, is to help you win government contracts. So with that, I will turn it over back to James and let you know about our upcoming events.
Thanks so much, Liz. That was a lot of good information. And just want to remind folks that you will receive the slides later today. They're going to our website. I've dropped a link in the chat a couple times, and as well as the video recording that we're doing of this. And all the links that Liz has put together will be available for everybody to click on. Okay. All right, so a couple upcoming events. First of all, this week, just this Thursday, we're putting on what you need to know about the 8A program. That is a disadvantaged business program. It's more than a certification. It's a whole 9-year program that the SBA, the Federal Small Business Administration, puts together. And basically, if you're a minority-owned business, you might want to attend this. And if you're looking to get involved with federal contracting, you do have to be, it's kind of more of the deep end. You have to be in business 2 years and other circumstances. But that is this Thursday at 10 to 11 a.m., same time as this webinar. And then we're really excited because we have our first in-person event since the onset of COVID that we are hosting. This is going to be February 23rd, in person in Eureka, California at the Humboldt Bay Aquatic Center, 10 to 11:30 in the morning. We are doing how to do business with the state of California. So that's related to today's presentation. If you're in the Humboldt County area, please come by. We're going to be doing another one at some point, I believe in April, in Fort Bragg as well. So please come and take a look at these. This is free as well, and we'll get a chance to actually meet each other, which would be lovely. And you can find more events on our website calendar, which we're always updating with our own hosted events as well as partner events. And we've got lots of questions that have been coming in. It looks like we've got, let's just dive right in here. And just to know, I've been typing some responses to some of the questions. Liz talked a bit about market research today. A lot of you had questions specifically like, does my specific opportunity work in this marketplace? And because we have 133 people in the audience today, we're not going to dive into market research for each individual topic. So hopefully some of the market research tips that Liz has talked about have been helpful for finding opportunities. And then also talk to your local PTAC, because that is something that you'll want to do, is sit down with either on your own or with your local PTAC or your Apex Accelerator counselor and dive into the market research looking for those details, because there's no better way to do it than spend a couple hours doing it that way. So, all right, let's get any questions here. Warren Donian is asking, the funding is general categories on the MTC slide. Do you know how we might find more specific information on what is funded?
There's a lot of information there, but basically it's buried under reports. So MTC is the Transportation Commissions. They provide various projects and programs, but just like anything else, they should have some information about the planning. So if you want to get more into details about searching for opportunities with MTC, just give me a call or send me an email and I can walk you through it. But as James had mentioned, marketing research, you won't believe how many things these agencies purchase. In addition to papers and pencils, they also purchase a lot of things. I had one of the businesses said, we provide flowers. Do your agency purchase flowers? I said, you know what? You just never know. Register as a vendor and describe the different types of services that you provide. In addition, get certified as small business. Lo and behold, our agency was looking for a florist because we had some special events where they needed flowers for decorations, or sometimes we did have, employees who had major anniversaries, or sometimes we did have, employees that passed away. And even though it's less than $100,000, a lot of these contracts was very helpful for her small business. So, go look, do some research on your prospects, determine which agency you want to work for. And if you need help, sign up for Norcal PTAC and we can walk you through that.
Okay, great. Skip that one. What's the most effective way to approach local transit agencies well, they're asking specifically about vehicle wrapping opportunities, but again, I want to kind of avoid talking about specific products because it's not going to be relevant for most folks. But if you had a product you wanted to approach local transit agencies, how would you go about that? If we can make a review.
Again, the first thing I would do is register your business as a vendor, attend any networking events. The Business Outreach Committee, which is consisting of 25 transportation agencies, have an outreach coming up on February 7th. Now, that is a great way, just like what James had mentioned, people are starting to open up their events, but this case, they may still have a Zoom. So by attending networking events and participating is a great way. Or also, as I mentioned earlier, pre-bid or pre-proposal meetings is another way.
And there's another question, how might you go about finding those sort of networking events and meetings? Is there a directory somewhere, or do they have to do research for each organization?
The Business Outreach Committee is comprised of businesses within the area, but also they would share it with community-based organizations. And sometimes too, we advertise, Norcal PTAC will advertise their events through our Norcal PTAC calendar. Now, a lot of times is if you are not registered with that agency, you will not receive these networking events. So that's one way for you to also, in addition to finding out contracting opportunities, it's also a way for you to receive notification of networking events.
Great. So it all starts with the registration. And we had some questions in the chat about whether BidSync was free. And I think BidSync, the basic, is free. But then they do try to strong arm you into paying for extra services. But just for the basic listings, you shouldn't have to pay anything to register. And just, someone was hoping that we could change that. The thing about local contracting especially is that every agency is kind of to some extent doing their own thing, and we're not even a government agency. We don't have any control over the procurement processes, but we can certainly help walk you through them. So that's what we're here for, is to help you understand. And we do have our bid match service that we do offer for free. So if you sign up for Norcal PTAC, which can collect local resources as well as state and federal bids. So please ask your procurement specialist about that if you're with us. What might you recommend for a structure and agenda if you're going into a meeting with a buyer?
What's that?
So if you have a meeting with a buyer, do you have a recommendation for how you would structure that meeting, a sort of basic agenda?
I think you have to really work on your high power pitch. And as I mentioned, focus on your capability statement, because a lot of information that you would like to provide is already contained in that area, right? So if you're looking with buyer, the first thing is I would do some research. What types of material supplies they're buying? And, a lot of times too, if you look at past purchases, and some of the agencies may have it or they may not, but if you look in there, you can tell that they have a cycle. Some of the purchases they may award for 1 year, but a lot of the purchases they may award for a multi-year. And if it's the end of that cycle, then you know that they'll be advertising it soon. And these are the questions that I would put together as a checklist, Provide your high power pitch, and then ask them, when do you think this will be advertised? Or when is the next cycle that these purchases will be made? Also, at the end, you may want to find out what other materials or supplies they need. Remember, your main goal is to find solutions, right? For example, we had a procurement for VTA that was basically for uniforms, hats, uniforms, and so on. Well, one of the business came up and said, you also need boots and shoes. So guess what? In addition to uniforms, the hats, the jackets, they purchase boots and shoes, right? So, but until you ask the buyer what their needs and how you can solve, you're leaving yourself out.
Okay, great. Thanks, Liz. That's a good answer. And we have a lot of questions about certification. And so maybe we can just kind of generally talk more about certifications on different levels. Natina is asking, if you're just starting out with local contracting, you're not sure who your customers will be, you'd like to get a small business certification, would you recommend starting with the state of California SB certification, or what?
That's the first thing I would start. The state of California, through the Cal eProcure website, goes through the Department of General Services. Now, the nice thing about this certification for small business is that a lot of the local agencies have reciprocity with the state. So it's sort of like a one-stop. If you're certified a small business with a state, you may also be certified small business with various other agencies within the state of California.
Great.
So, and we can help you, walk you through the process. It normally takes like less than an hour, but I had clients who were certified within the next 3 days, 3 to 5 days. So it's very quick, very easy. If you're eligible and you have all the required documents, then you may get certified quickly.
Great. And does every county have a small business certification platform, or is it just some of them?
Some of them do, like, for example, San Francisco have their small business, local business, emerging business, and so on. Some of them even have micro business. I'm not sure, but
Mhm.
I know San Francisco has a lot of the small business. The county of Alameda, I believe, also has it.
They
But
do. Yeah.
again, you know, if some of these local agencies accept the Department of General Services state small business certification, then, you know, you don't have to do as much work.
Mhm. You will definitely come across many agencies, especially outside of the Bay Area, which in my experience do not have any sort of SB certification platform as
Yeah.
well. So don't be discouraged if you don't find them. Sometimes they don't exist. For instance, I know Humboldt County and Sonoma County and Mendocino, I don't believe have any. Okay. Does one business certification outweigh another? I guess that's going to depend on your audience or who your target. And does having more than one certification provide more benefits or opportunities rather than just one?
You know, any certification that you're eligible is an advantage. Okay. So there's federal certifications, just like what James had mentioned. We have 8A. We also have women owned, and we have HubSo. Those are federal certifications. But the state has the small business certification and disabled veteran. The local business have their local business certification. All of these is an advantage for you. And anytime that is an advantage and it can assist you to grow your business, I would try for it.
Great. All right. Thank you. And can you contract for more than one agency at a time simultaneously?
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. How else would you grow your business, right?
Mhm.
Let me tell you a story. I had this pest control, and they started doing business with a city. And later on, they contracted with the county of San Francisco. And because they were now familiar with procurement process, they also got contracts with the Contra Costa County. And lastly, the last time I heard is now they're contracting with Santa Clara County. And these are great opportunities. Now you just have to know that, you know, the procurement process may not be the same for each of the local agencies, but the advantages are amazing, you know? If you can do multiple agencies, different counties and so on, yeah, that's your goal and mission.
All right, great. Thank you. Warren's asking, are micro purchases typically not listed on the various agency websites?
Correct.
Yes. So they're not there.
A lot of times is they're so small, it's not even worth advertising it. So as I mentioned, look at your California Public Contracting Code. If it's less than 2,500, they may just use their purchase card. But some agencies have 10,000 as their limit. And other agencies, large transportation, may have 25,000. So, you know, that's again, I can't emphasize enough for you to register, right?
And I think as folks might be getting, when it comes to local contracting, you know, the state kind of has some overarching similarities between the way their agencies do business. Counties less so. They do, but cities and counties are each their own independent entities. So some things may be overarching, but a lot of it is incumbent upon you to do the research on that specific agency where in your area, wherever your market is, to find what their procurement processes are like. Okay. Rihanna is asking, we are already registered on most of the supplier diversity programs. Can we call them or email them and offer samples of our products? So most of the email addresses are not accepting solicitations.
A lot of them don't, but if you narrowly tailor it and you have a specific buyer, I don't see any reason why not. Most of the agency lists their buyer's name so that it's public. Just like the state of California, if you look at past purchases, a lot of the buyer contact information is public. So target your prospects and provide them with information.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, at the end of the day, there's no secret to it. You just got to dig down in some of these databases and find contacts and get targeting and emailing and calling and doing what you can. Does it matter if you're set up as a nonprofit or a for-profit for contracting?
In certification, you have to be for profit.
Okay. But can you still do business with the local agency as a nonprofit? Can you win a contract, for instance?
I can research that, but most of the nonprofit ones are there's a call for projects and it's given us a grant. So that's something that you need to research a bit more because I just don't have that information.
Okay, great. And again, we had a question about what the best certification is, and that's just going to depend on your target agency. So it really depends. There's no best certification, there's federal, state, local, every county has maybe a different program. So
yeah, I would do research on the eligibility requirements and determine which you're eligible for and apply for it.
Great, and it is 11 o'clock now. I dropped a link in the chat. It's for a survey. Before you guys leave, if you just want to click on that link and let us know how you felt about the webinar today. Just so everyone knows, you will be getting the slides and the video recording. It's going to go to our website and emailed to everyone who registered later today. So I think Liz, do you have time for a couple more questions?
Yes.
Okay, great. Warren's asking, is DBE certification beneficial for pursuing opportunities with transit agencies, since many of them get federal funding?
Yes. The DBE program is under the Department of Transportation. So if you're interested and you're eligible, I would highly recommend that you apply for that certification.
Great. Liz knows a thing or two about the DBE program. Okay, Rita is asking if you could go a little bit more into what's the California Public Contracting Code?
That is just like the federal acquisition regulation is, it lists all of the contracting regulations. The California Public Contracting Code also lists all of the laws and policies for local agencies. So as I used in my sample there, I used the contracting code for Santa Clara VTA. You can also look at, Bay Area Rapid Transit. And also sometimes, special districts like school districts, cities, counties will have that. And they must follow it. It's a law and regulation. We also had some new codes for construction. There's certain ways that you have to advertise for X amount of days, for X amount of dollars, and so on. So those are information just like the FAR or DFAR, the Federal Acquisition Regulations, the contracting code will also have that information of procurement procedures and processes.
Okay, great. And maybe let's do one more question here. So if micro purchases are unlisted, what's the best way to capture these opportunities with buyers? I think we've sort of already visited that a little bit, but it's worth reviewing.
Yeah, register, and if you have an opportunity that you have the buyer contact information, go and seek information from them. introduce yourself, provide them with capability statement. And a lot of times you don't get a chance to see those buyers, but networking events, there's always a representative from each agency, and they will give you a contact information.
Okay, great. All right, thanks, Liz. So everyone, Liz puts all this information together. So really thanks for all the research and doing the legwork. And of course, we had a really, really great audience today. A lot of participation in the chat, a lot of great questions. Again, please, I'll drop that survey again. I think as you exit the webinar, you should be redirected towards a survey. But sometimes I hear it doesn't work. So I just dropped it again. Just let us know how you felt about today's webinar. You're going to receive the slides later today, and we hope to see you at future events, both in person and online. And if you have any questions, that weren't answered today or special requests, please email us. You have our info@norcalptech.org. That is our main email. If you email us, we'll get back to you in a couple business days to help with whatever it is you may need. So thanks so much, everyone, for coming, and see you next time.
Bye, guys.